Go against war. I'm just so I'm done with it. I'm done with it.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said in a statement that the strikes are the start of our response. And he bragged about, we did more attacks than Trump ever did. Democrats are peaceful, don't you know? They don't do this stuff. Like, I hate that. Like, people don't understand. Like, this is not a party thing. This is a political thing. Like, it doesn't matter who's in power. They're just going to do this type of stuff. It doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or Republican. Tyler, they want a war so the election can be postponed. They will not postpone an election for a war. Never happened. Cole, I heard someone else say the reason they may have warned about an incoming strike for a few days was a lot of Iranian-linked groups to retreat to avoid tension rising too much. Okay. Iran back is probing time 666. So it's IRGC, which is Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corp, which is backed by, which is a multi-service primary branch of the Iranian Armed Forces. So this is the Iranian Armed Forces. It is not within the country of Iran, but this is Iranian forces that are on the border of Syria and Iraq. Cole, giving them time to pull out would prevent a lot of them dying in these U.S. strikes. I don't want to see people killed. Tyler, left and right wing are part of the same bird. Some truth to that. What do you think about that? He said they bragged about, one of the Democratic senators bragged about how this is a lot more attacks than the last administration ever did.
I find it to be sickening. This is why I like folks like Ron Paul and Rand Paul, to be quite honest with you. They don't believe in intervention and doing all these horrible wars where innocent people die. I'm just so tired of it. I'm so done with it. I'm so sick of it. And when I hear people say, oh, I care about all these, liberal values and I care about all these lives, but then they're okay with people dying in these wars. I'm like, as long as it's not my people, it's not my family, it's not my folks, it's okay if they die, because they're not as human as I am. Let's just be honest. That's where they stand.
I think they care anyways who it is.
It's so traumatizing to me personally when I see this type of thing, when I see people gleefully happy about like interventions into Libya and into all these countries. Like, yeah, it's so good we got rid of this thing. I'm like, how many people died for that? How many more people are going to die?
Yeah.
Do you care about these people's lives? They don't care. And that's the thing. That's the sickening thing that I see on the Democrat side that really makes me upset.
Well, it's both parties.
Oh, no, of course. No, but the party of the Democrat Party is claiming, both parties do it. But you can kind of see that there's a certain level of hawkishness.
The virtuous party, they don't do unjustified wars.
Right. And that's the thing. The thing is, when you see Republican folks, honestly, it's against their platform, interventions, because the libertarians are actually doing the true Republican narrative. The Republicans are actually doing big government and stuff too. They care about abortion. Like, you're doing big government stuff. You're not following your platform, so it's completely hypocrisy from that space. But Democrats do the same problem too, where they're like, we care about unhoused people, we care about the homeless, we want to help them, we care about LGBTQIA+, we care about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Oh, but there's a dictator, let's bring democracy, let's go kill lots of people. And I'm like, all your values and morals went right into the garbage when you could see that you could smell money and you could exploit different spaces, and then you're doing it for the justice of humanity. No, you're not. You're doing it to line your pockets. You're doing it you're not doing it to help those people. How do you help those people? You can't help those people by just going into their country and bombing them. That's going to hurt them. So no, why don't you help the folks here actually help the unhoused people, get people resources, actually do something that your platform states.
Do what will reduce friggin' violent crime in the U.S., like a
100%.
UBI, mental health reform,
yes.
Better education,
amen, hallelujah,
better housing, getting people off the street,
amen,
decriminalizing drugs so people can get friggin' adequate care, destigmatize these things, destigmatize anger management, destigmatize this idea that you have to friggin' recover in pain and suffer through these issues, create friggin' social communities for children so they're friggin' not just friggin'. It's not the problem with single parent homes. It's about not having the money to raise your kids and not having an immunity,
1000%
a community
agree.
around the kids to mentor them and teach them how to handle friggin' stress and conflict and stuff like this. Why don't we deal with that shit? We don't give a shit. They talk about it every election. That Democrats will every election. Oh, we need to do this. They don't do shit. They sit here and brag about how they've done more attacks than the other administration did, as they blame the Trump administration of being like war hawks, and then they brag about being the war hawks. What type of fucking bullshit, hypocrisy, nonsense
We're 100%
is this friggin' shit right here? You want to pretend like they're the friggin' more virtuous party? Utter bullshit. Utter bullshit. They're not doing shit for the black community. They'll preach it all day long. Hey, this is Black History Month. Why don't we do something for the black community? Why don't we do a UBI? Why don't we do better fucking mental health care? Why don't we decriminalize drugs? Why don't we give these people a pathway to fucking wealth so they're not in friggin' generational poverty forever? Why are 25% of black men under the age of 30 years old fucking felons? Why do we create a friggin' criminal, poor underclass in the U.S.? You pretend like you care. You don't care. We don't do shit to resolve any of these problems.
No, they don't.
It's bullshit. But we pretend like we care.
I am 1,010 million % with you on every single thing you said, and that's a problem because it is hypocrisy and it's charlatanry. And that's the thing, because they're charlatans. That's what makes me sick about the Democrat Party, because they're pretending to be moral, they're pretending to be ethical, and then they do all of this crap. Why is there all this suffering? Because they don't care about it. You think Hillary Clinton cared about any of these things? And then she went on the Breakfast Club, and she's like, they asked her, like, what's in her bag? And she's like, hot sauce. And they're like, are you pandering? Yes. Is it working? Is this working? These people are charlatans. They don't care. They will kill, they will murder, they will pillage. They will do all of it. And you're right. And because your point is correct, all of these terrible things that we see, are they doing anything about it? No. Because they don't care. It doesn't line their pockets.
Oh, Democrats want to cry about Trump because of president again. Oh, but the Democrats just bragged that they do more airstrikes than Trump did. Oh, so maybe we'll get less airstrikes if Trump becomes president, if you don't want airstrikes. Oh, but they're going to do more things for these communities. Oh,
which they don't do. Which they don't do.
Fucking every election is the same thing. Oh, we're going to do immigration reform. No immigration reform.
They don't do anything. I actually read 2 briefs about helping the environment for like my political science class. And in 2016, I looked at a Republican brief and a Democrat brief. The Republican brief said, we are the custodians of God on God's green earth. And, we care about the environment, but all of these things that the leftists are saying are lies. Everything's a lie. These eco-terrorists, they're all lying about it. This is the point that they're saying. They're saying basically a bunch of it's hogwash, and we do care about the environment. We're not going to do anything. That's the point. What did the Democrats say? The Democrats said, we are going to make environmental lobbies to help. We're going to have environmental lobbies, and that's it. It was just a bunch of performative language, not anything real, nothing substantive. But they're like, yeah, we're going to have environmental spaces, and we care about the environment, and yeah, we'll clean energy, cool. No process of how to do that. Just empty words. That's the point. All those good words, they're all empty. They're all hollow, and they mean nothing. What did Shakespeare say? It's signifying fury, signifying absolutely nothing. That's what it is. Sound of fury, signifying nothing.
You know how we fix the border problem? We improved the fucking life for people in Mexico.
Yes.
So you don't need to come here. We friggin' get those people's heads out of their asses to improve life, because human lives matter. It's just not American lives. It's all lives matter. It's friggin' nonsense. I'll get friggin' banned for saying that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They matter.
You're right.
We don't do shit. Like, okay, yeah. So, like, what if we lived on a border town right now with all these migrants coming in? The migrants are coming here, or immigrants. You call them illegal immigrants, whatever, because they're violating some stupid, antiquated law, because we don't have the freedom to travel in this world. We don't have the freedom to get a job in this world. We don't have the freedom not to pay friggin' Anyways, what party is actually advocating for change? Like, if
You're
you
a good
vote
preacher, man.
libertarian,
I love your preaching, man. I'm on the same page. I wish we had these sermons in temples and churches and mosques. People should hear this kind of sermon, you know?
Libertarian Party doesn't want to do shit either, dude. They're like, they want to defund everything. It's like, okay, so we have this concept called classical liberalism. Hobbes, okay? I'm not saying we have to go back in time friggin' 200 years ago to the way it was originally conceptualized. We don't have, or it is like 300 some years ago. We don't have to go back and do that. But we can realize that we do have a social contract with the rest of humanity. We have to. It's the only way the world can survive. It's the way the world improves. It's a way starvation starts to end across the world as we work together. Like, how else are we going to make any change? We don't care. The problem with the Mexican border, it's not a problem. It's okay. So a lot of people are coming across the Mexico border. Do they have places to stay? Are they going to live on the streets? If they have places to stay, then what does it matter? What does it really matter? If they could go get jobs, what does it really matter? Unemployment's under like 4%, almost zero, basically, because you're going to have natural unemployment or people in between jobs. That's just normal with any economy. Like, what's the problem with that? But besides that, you got this shit too. So if you don't want immigration, let's do some immigration reform. We haven't done it. Bush was the last one to really promise us immigration reform. The last president that had the opportunity to really do it was friggin' Biden when he had control of all the houses. He didn't do shit. Or Obama when he had control of all the houses. He didn't do shit. Trump, when he didn't do shit. None of them want to do anything to impact actual real change.
And I love that you said this, and I think it's such a good point that this is the charlatanry I'm talking about, because it's Democrats are presented in liberal circles as this virtuous party, but what they do is it's trickery. It's a sleight of hand where they're like, hey, we're so ethical and moral, but when they actually have an opportunity to do something good, they do nothing good. They don't do anything helpful. And they said, oh, look at the President Trump. He deported all these kids. And I'm like, who do you think started this? Was someone called President Obama? He did this too. But no one wants to talk about that. Like, he's the first black president. There's nothing wrong that he did. He didn't do extrajudicial killings of people in other countries. Nope, not true.
It's not the big things the president decides are like this. The other stuff with like immigration reform, they have to get the House and Senate to do it, and then they can sign it or not. So they do some negotiation, but in essence, it's the parties that are in control in the House and Senate that move that stuff along. It's not the president. The big things, like the things that like when it comes to war, conflicts, attacking Iranian military, is stuff like this. This is where it really matters. Border control, stuff like that. That's where it really matters. Change the law for immigration reform. President can't do that, but the president can enforce border policy or not enforce border policy. He can enforce drug policy or not enforce drug policy if he wants to federally. But a lot of this stuff just means we need political action, but there's no political will to do it. Anyways, we're outlawing abortion. I'm only for abortion and personhood, and people can hate me for that. I don't care. But it shouldn't be outright bans. It's ridiculous. Like, this is like, I don't know what's going on with this country. It's absurd.
I so much agree.
I don't know. Now my throat's gonna sore, and I got to go on a stream in an hour. I just wanted to share this. It just makes me mad when I read like these comments from these politicians. I don't know what to do, dude.
It's like, so wrong. It's so wrong. Bombing anyone is wrong. And I think being gleeful about it, it's just so disgusting. Innocent lives are being lost, and it's just wrong.
Don Giovanni, you're absolutely right. Obama wanted a DREAM Act. When he had control with the supermajority with the Senate, when he had the ability to pass the Affordable Care Act, he could have enacted a DREAM Act. He could have done it then, but he decided not to. Why? When you had the political power and you say you want to do it, do you do it with the stroke of a pen when you know it's just going to be overturned when the next president comes in? entire political theater. What, do they have the political will to do the Affordable Care Act and the DREAM Act and immigration reform? They had the control and the power. If they really wanted to do it, they could have. There's no one that was in place to stop them from passing those laws all the way through, because they had a supermajority of the Senate at the time. They had control of the House at the time, and they had the White House at the time. The Democrats did not have the will to enforce the DREAM Act. And that's just the way it is. People can create apologetics for the Democrats all they want. Pretend like, oh, they just didn't have the political will. Oh, human, I probably won't do it. It's about Jim Bob, atheist stuff. How do I sleep at night? I don't, because I'm in pain. Because my foot hurts really bad right now. As long as military obey orders, there will be war. I mean, if the politicians just friggin' did the way it should be, like it should be just for defense, we would have a lot less issues. I don't know. RFK Jr., people mentioned him up above. Like, he says he'll bring the troops home. How many presidents have promised to bring the troops home? RFK Jr. is going to be the one if we vote for him. Yeah, okay. It's like, I believe it. He's a political animal. Like, I don't believe it at all. If you really want to see change, you need to really start looking at third parties that actually have policies that will actually affect change. Like, and maybe it's the Green Party, I don't know. Like, I'm not a socialist, but when it comes to some of the policies that I think we need, which is like a UBI, I think we need to remove taxes on necessary goods like shelter, food, basic transportation, basic clothing, like stuff like that. Like, we shouldn't be taxed for the things that we need to survive in this world. We should be able to get water. Like, we should be able to live. You want to solve like the violent crime problem, we need to do mental health reform. If you're worried about guns, it's not the guns, it's the agent. It's a problem with the agent, because there's this little thing. So violent crime, there's like, what, 4 million violent crimes a year in the United States. It's like 400 violent crimes in the US per 100,000 population. But we're always worried about the 4 murders per 100,000 population, not the number that's 100 times greater. 100 times greater. So this little thing with endorphins, when you commit violence, you get an endorphin rush. So if you experience like anxiety because you're conditioned in life, like, now I'm wheezing because my throat's sore. I get asthma, maybe I get asthma or something. But let's where's it going with that? Anxiety. So people experience social anxiety or anxiety, economic anxiety, stuff like that, especially during economic downturns. And so, like, suicide rates go up, violent crimes go up, murders go up. All these numbers go up during economic downturns. So a lot of these problems with violence is because people don't know how to respond to economic downturns, how to respond to that anxiety. There's like 3 different ways you can respond to anxiety that really gives you an endorphin rush that helps you to overcome that anxiety. I don't know who's supposed to be on stage now. And that is to exercise, okay? Do something constructive, like a hobby or something like that, or through violence. Actually engaging in violence actually releases endorphins that help to overcome your anxiety. So one of the causes for violence in our society is not knowing how to handle that anxiety, actually experiencing that anxiety. So, like, our children need the mentoring to understand how to deal with anxiety. So that's why I mentioned that in the beginning. Then if we had like a UBI, that would get rid of a lot of that economic anxiety people would experience, because they're always going to have that platform to be able to not deal with that. And then we legalize jobs that people have, like selling drugs, like make it so they can go to the courts instead of street justice when they have a conflict, legalizing sex workers and stuff like that for the same reasons. So these crimes that crimes that we call crimes that don't have a victim. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of a lot of the so then a lot of the policing we have is for drug intervention. And people probably don't know that. Like a lot of the times when the police are out there snooping around, it's to find drugs. Get rid of the war on drugs, you have less police interaction with that level as a society, which will help build trust with police. You'll want to call them to intervene because you're going to trust them to respond to actual problems you have within your community. Now, people have less reasons to respond violently. They have less reasons to experience that anxiety. And then we help resolve these problems. But what are we worried about? I'm worried about 3 soldiers dying. Why were the soldiers in Jordan in the first place? I don't get it. Legalize snitching. Snitching is legal. I haven't been reading the chat. I'm sorry. I don't know. I need to go. I need to take a rest, and I need to get something to eat. I just wanted to share what was going on right now. That, man, I hope it doesn't go beyond this. If we go to war with Iran, like, I have kids. Like, this is bullshit, dude. We don't need to go to war. We don't need to go to war with Iran. Fucking bullshit.
I 100% agree. I 100%
Yeah.
agree. I think these wars are disgusting and they're terrible and they need to end. And and that's the problem of why we have these wars, is we have terrible leaders and parties that we're electing and we just don't have choice to choose people who are good. And you were right about choosing the third party, because the third party allows us something. Like, it could be Green Party, it could be Libertarian, it could be anything, but we just don't want more wars. We don't want more killing. We don't want any more of this stuff, and we don't want America to be a part of it. As American citizens, we should be against it.
Want these 18-year-olds. And that's what we do. We recruit fucking children, and then we send them over to fight wars. And we expect them to deal with it. Like, they don't have the life experience to deal with war. And then they come back and suicide rate's the highest for that group of people.
I know.
Because we don't give a shit. And then they thought, we'll just draft people. Well, that's worse. You have people that don't even volunteer to go do this. Then we're going to kill, like, people over there. It's like, I don't get it, dude. Like,
I don't get it either. It's just evil and awful. And that's why I'm planning to go to the military myself, to try to go help people, because it's horrendous what's happening. People are suffering greatly, and they don't have
children. You know why we recruit children, like 18 to 21 years old?
That's our children, yeah.
No, it's because they have enough life experience that they can follow orders, but they're not too old where they're going to question it. And they do this on purpose.
I know.
They know, like, they're not going to, like, not, like, violate the orders. Like, and then they're like gung-ho. They think like they're following some virtuous mission in some foreign country. They're not. Okay. They're not defending civil liberties. They're not defending their homeland. They're defending some dude that wants to get elected. It's for over 3 guys. It should have probably ever been in Jordan anyways. Why were they in Jordan in the first place? What's the purpose of having forward deployed troops in Jordan? On the border of Israel.
It's such a tragedy, and I feel you, and it's so painful, and it should bring tears, because it's just painful, and it's traumatic. It's traumatic that this is happening to children, and it's traumatic that it's happening to the folks in our nation, and it just should not happen. It needs to end, and you're right. They're going to come back with PTSD and endless suffering, and yeah.
Well, people will pretend like, okay, I served in the Navy for 11 years. I have 7 campaign medals. So that means I was part of 7 foreign conflicts where we bombed people and killed them. My job was to make sure we can do that. But because I wasn't the one that dropped the bomb, I'm supposed to be able to disenfranchise myself completely from that. Like, oh, well, you didn't see people die. It's like, no, but I'm responsible. Like we all are responsible as Americans for fucking
I
voting for
know.
these people
I know.
in the first place. But like, you know, how many people did I help kill? I don't know. But at least I was a little bit older when I joined. I had some life experience, and I didn't have to go into combat. But we send 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds to combat, like where they have to shoot people and kill people. Like literally, like can you imagine? Okay. Like imagine like um going hunting and like killing a deer. Like a lot of people can't even bring themselves to do that. But now you're gonna go over to another country and maybe have to shoot a kid, maybe have to shoot a child because they have something that looks like a weapon and they're pointing at you. Because sometimes people don't care. Like my dad had to face a court martial because he killed an 8-year-old kid, an 8-year-old kid, because they were running up to their jeep and they were throwing Molotov cocktails sometimes at the jeeps, which would kill you or the other people with you. The kid didn't have a Molotov cocktail. He just was running up to the jeep, right?
And he was probably
But
terrified. He was probably really scared, and he was terrified. And
yeah,
um, and the thing is, this is the problem. In
well,
my opinion, it's not the military that it's at fault. It's the
he was
bureaucrats.
he was acquitted of the court martial. Just to be fair, they didn't convict him, but he had to like be tried.
Well, and I'm
But
sure he has the trauma too of
yeah,
killing a
he's
child. Like the
and
court
you know who
martial is
that
not going to
trauma
disrupt that.
and who's that trauma affect? Like he comes back,
To you, your
he comes
family.
back to the from Vietnam, and yeah, and then he has a family and has kids. So he experiences like 4 or 5 years of war and conflict, having to deal with all that,
Yeah,
and then he raises a family, and then you have to then the kids have to face all that trauma too, and it's not just the person that has to go do that. Children should not. And he tried to avoid the draft. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to go. Like he was drafted. So like, what's worse? Like people will say, "Oh, we should draft women. We shouldn't fucking draft anybody,
I 100% agree.
and we shouldn't recruit anybody under 29 years of age, under
Yeah,
29.
yeah,
Give them a chance to live a life. Give them a chance to have some experiences, so when they're actually in some type of conflict like that, they can make those judgment calls. Fuck you if you're in a leadership position and you can't convince 29 to 40-year-olds what to do. It means your cause is probably, guess what, bud? Unjust. Unjust. Because you're being challenged. Yeah.
that's. Thank you for sharing, and I 100% agree with everything that you have shared. It's just it's deeply tragic. It's deeply painful, and it's not correct what's going on. And you're right. The politicians and bureaucrats are at fault. They're really at fault. And
Yeah.
it just and the ones who are saying they care about humanity are the ones who are gleefully smiling when others' lives are being destroyed. And it's not, and you're correct, it's not just people in other countries whose lives are being lost, it's the people here too. Usually people who don't have resources, people who don't have money, people who don't have all the stuff, they have to go to the military. How else can they make it? It's the only chance that you have a chance of getting an education. No one wants to talk about that.
I was able
And
to
yeah,
bootstrap my kids. So I told my sons, don't join the military. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Not worth it. I will help you. Like not to like. I don't care if you go to college. I will help you, and I did, and they're doing fine.
but it's
Um,
tragic because the thing is, what the military should be doing is helping rebuild this country. Allow people to live a life here. You could be in the military and say, "Hey, I'm going to go rebuild this neighborhood. I'm going to go fix these things. I'm going to do this stuff." And then people would love the military if they could do things like that. Why are we going to other countries? We don't need to. We don't need to have that. We don't need any loss of life. So, it's I'm with you 100%, and I'm thank you for sharing and being so vulnerable and open and sharing your tears. It's a lot to convey. There's a lot of pain, and you are not responsible for what happened. You were put into this
Oh,
space. You didn't get to
I don't.
choose these
It's not
things.
about. It's not about me though either. Like, okay. I mean, I maybe I just have too much empathy. But you
And it's
think
good.
about it.
It's
You
good.
think
But
about it.
but
Like
all of us
those.
Americans are
Let's think about
responsible.
it. Those three soldiers.
Yes.
It wasn't just the three soldiers. It was their families. The sites we retaliated against. It wasn't just these Iranian
Yeah.
soldiers. It was their sisters. It was their mothers. It was their children. It was their cousins. It was their aunts, their uncles. All have to suffer. All have to suffer. All have to suffer because somebody had to die because some stupid asshole in Iran or some stupid asshole in Washington, D.C. decided it's more important that we put these people in harm's way or kill them. I'm not just blaming the U.S. I'm not just blaming Biden. It's what's wrong. What's wrong with these ideologies? It's just friggin' absurd. Like, why can't we just friggin' why can't we just all get along? Why can't we have empathy for each other? What's wrong with humans that we can't just have empathy for each other? Why are we so driven by these friggin' rigid ideological lines around religion, around friggin' economics? Like, why can't we just let other countries live? Let the people there live? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, we just want to control other people. Why do you want to control other people? Like, what's wrong with you if you want to control other people? What's wrong with you if you want to tell people what gender they can be? What's wrong with you with you telling people what names they can use for themselves? What's wrong with you with telling people what religion they can have or not? What beliefs they can have or not? What's wrong with you? It's just not the politicians, it's freaking humans. Like we want to control. We want to friggin' we don't just want to control our own desires and wants. We want to control the ones of others. Like we think we have to we're virtuous, so everybody has to be else be virtuous. Guess what? You're not virtuous. You're not. Like maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe some of you are. I don't think it's all greed. I don't think it's all greed. I don't think it's all I think some people just think they're literally doing what they believe is the right thing, but they're wrong. Like they're convinced by some religious text, they're convinced by some ideology that this is a good thing, this is the right thing. But we know what's good or wrong. We know what's wrong. You know what's wrong. You know what's wrong. You know what's wrong. What's wrong is you intentionally or recklessly cause harm to somebody else in violation of their consent. You know that's wrong. You know it's wrong. You've known that's been wrong since you were a child. Now, maybe you've had it beat out of you. Maybe you were abused where you don't respect that. Maybe somebody taught you some stupid rules. But children know, most children with a working empathy know it's wrong to harm other people. They'll actually, if you see somebody crying, they'll give you the comfort blankets or toys. Kids are awesome, dude. Like they'll have their little comfort animal or toy or whatever, and they'll see oh, there's Ozzy crying, and they might not even know you, right? But they'll come up to you and give you the toy that makes them not cry because they know it to comfort you. And it's not the toy that comforts you; it's the fact that you see this person that's not broken yet want to end your pain, right? And it's nothing about um being greedy. It's nothing about being oh, what's the word people say? Like everybody does it for their motives are all in their own self-interest. No, no. People actually have empathy. People do. Like they do actually care about other people. Um
Yeah, I agree.
majority of us, yeah.
I agree. I think we do have empathy. We do have compassion. We do have these human traits. The issue is there is other because we're complex as humans, we also have the tribalism, and that's what allows for these types of things to occur. As long as it's not me, I can do whatever to thee. And I'm like, that's the problem. And I think we need to have more of the view that you're talking about as humans. Like I remember when Hurricane was it Katrina happened, all everybody united when they were there. They went and helped people who were who were drowning. It didn't matter what ethnicity you were. They came and went and helped the people. And I wish we had that mentality all across the way. We'd be much better as a society, and we wouldn't have this wanton death. And it's painful. It's really painful.
Well, people don't care. So so we went to like our daily meetings. Um I worked in where we repaired the components for the Hornets, um, for the aircraft carriers. And I was a supervisor. I go to the morning meetings every morning. And this was I think 98 or 97. It was one of the times we were going into Iraq again to go bomb people. And I go to the meeting and the commander's in there, and he wants to give us all a pep talk. And you know what he did? This is like it's disgusting. He's in there bragging about how we're going to finally be able to drop bombs on people to start executing our mission. Bragging like it was exciting to kill people. That was exciting. We're all supposed to be cheer, cheer, rah, rah, go, go to kill people in Iraq. Like, what's, I don't get it. Yeah, psycho. Yeah, definitely psycho. Like, I don't know. Like, I was an E6. So it wasn't like, I was like well, I was only in the Navy a couple of years. Oh, wait. I was an E5 at the time. I was an E6. I can't remember. It's like 20, 30 years ago. Uh, I, um, I just was disgusted even then. Like, I'm not here for that. I'm not here to kill anybody. I'm here to like do our mission. That like I read our mission. That's not our mission. Our mission is to protect the interests of the United States. This isn't protecting the interests of the United States. Like and I was always like I got promoted really fast. I always got really good evals because, I have a brain. I could troubleshoot stuff like really, really good. I could lead people. Like, I had a 277 people. Like, and we did awesome. Didn't matter what the job was, we got it done. Every cruise I went on, every deployment I went on, we won a battle E. Like you could say, oh, it was a team effort. Yeah, okay. Why didn't all the other crews win one? Why were our mission completion rates always the highest? And guess what? Because I knew how to fix shit. I knew how to motivate people to fix stuff. But I didn't want to be there to bomb people. I was a technician, field engineer. That's what I did. But I don't know. Fucked. I get emotional. I smile a lot, but like I experience my emotions. You should experience your emotions. It's healthy for you, but you shouldn't try to suppress them. That's my idea, anyways. Yeah. Understandably ascending causing you so much pain. I wish, like hell, we'd all stop fighting over anything. It disgusts me too, but not much we can do. Sadly, there is. There's a fucking election. What I can do? No, not much I can do. There's something we can do as humans. but it just takes people that want to do it. We just don't want to do it. We don't want to. Maybe as some individuals we want to. Humans don't. Like, I don't know why. I think in general, we're mostly good people. Like, most humans are good. But when it comes to, like, it seems to, like, once you get outside of the orbit of the people that you know, people lose interest. They just don't care as much. What's going on, Earl? We're attacking Iran. Well, Iranian military in Iraq and Syria. So, and they said this is just the beginning. Just the beginning. Because 3 soldiers, U.S. soldiers who were in Jordan were killed by Iranian, whatever they call them, IRSG, whatever it is. So now we're going to, it's just at the beginning. What's that code for? What's it always been code for? Hey, Jeff. I got to go. But I hope, I don't know what to say. Like, we need to do something. We're not going to do anything. People are dying in Gaza. Why are we attacking the West Bank? Why is Israel attacking the West Bank now? Because he found Hamas people there? And yeah, like 50% of the population in Gaza is like 14 and younger. Because they have all these kids. But and then it's the parents too. You have all these kids you can't even freaking take care of. Can't even take care of them. So you have a bunch of kids. And now you're in a dangerous situation. Like, oh, and then Hamas decided, oh, we're gonna do this bullshit. Put all these kids at risk. And then they say, fine, we're gonna kill all the kids. Okay. Wonderful. Yay, look at us. We're so good. Putin wants to control the USSR again. What do? We like throw up apologetics both ways. Like we don't have the will to friggin' fight off Putin to drive him out of Ukraine. Why? Like if you want a war like that, maybe some just war. There's one. But no, we have troops in Jordan. 3 of them died. Millions of people get displaced in Ukraine, and fuck it. Millions of people get displaced in Syria. Fuck it. I just cry when people die, so sorry. But I'm done with the stream. Are you there, Issa? Oh,
I'm
Dr.
here.
J's here too.
I'm here.
Oh, Dr. J's back.
Glad to have you back, brother.
The emotional roller coaster's over. What?
Oh, I just said the game ended and I'm home.
Oh, nice to see you.
Yeah.
Some terrible news popped up.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is. It sounds like you guys are done. Maybe I have to look it up on my own.
Yeah, I can show you for people that are here. So U.S. So this is like the bad parts. Here, let's go. Oh wait, where's it at? Share this screen instead. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, here. This is one. So we attacked Iraq and Syria. So we want to pretend like there's a virtuous party or something like that, right? But so the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, says we waited too long. That was a week ago. We should have done it now. Senate Armed Service Chairman Jack Reed, a Democrat, praised the response to U.S. President Biden, saying in a statement, "This was a strong and proportional response. In fact, the 85 targets struck tonight mark a greater number than the prior administration. Biden's bombed more people than Trump ever did."
Ugh.
Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, a Republican, said, "Finally, Iran needs to know the price for American lives." This is the bad part, though. This is the part that really bugs me. Okay, where is it here? Defense Secretary Lord Austin said in the statement that the strikes are the start of our response. The start of our response against the Iranian militia that's in. Yeah, it's the start. So, anyways, that's it. So hopefully it doesn't lead to more than just what they've done. Sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes it turns into a 30-year conflict, like in Afghanistan. See what happens. Oh, hey, guess what? Did you know it's an election year? But it's a proportional response, I guess.
It's not. This is a fat cat bureaucrat talking. I'm sorry. They just like to talk like this. It sounds like they have power and it sounds so amazing, but you know, innocent lives being lost, there's no go for that.
Yeah, Loki, hug your family. Hug your family. Because this is like, it always bugs me when people talk about the draft and stuff like that. I have children that can be drafted. Like, it's just slavery. Draft is one of the most immoral things you can do. Not only do you send children into harm's way, you do it against their consent. Like, you force them to do it. Like, for this.
I just don't know what you're suggesting the solutions to the ending of war are. How do you have it so there's no more bombing? What ways have worked? What has worked to have it?
Iran needs to stop it being aggressive. The U.S. doesn't need troops in Jordan. Why do we have troops in Jordan? Why do we have troops in Jordan? How's this self-defense?
It just seems like we talk about the Pax Romana, right? What caused the Pax Romana?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't anything good.
So somebody has to say no. Somebody just has to say no. Somebody has to stand back and say no more.
The problem is both people have to say no. You can't. Everyone has to say no because all you have to have is one party not to say no.
Yeah.
Right. It's not one person. It's everyone has to say no, and that's what we can't seem to get to.
Yeah. So we're just going to continue to do it because humans are assholes. But we're good too. What is it about us, dude? What is it? It's like it seems like on a local level, in general, people are good. In general. But then you look at like the US, violent crimes, like it's horrible. Like it's one of the worst in the West, if not the worst. 400 violent crimes per 100,000 people.
I think what has, there have been improvements, but I think what has been a big part of the improvements is you have to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes. And we have to get really, really good at that. I think we've gotten better at that. How did we justify slavery? We didn't say, well, what would it be like if I was a slave, right? That certainly wasn't the thinking, right? It was they're not human or whatever, whatever reasons you gave. And so just being able to put ourselves in each other's shoes, as long as they're subhuman or they're dirty this or they're infidels or whatever nasty terms you want to put on someone else, as long as they're always that, and we can't say, well, what if I were them? I don't know. That's maybe baloney, but that's my best thought on it.
Yeah, I was telling a story when I was in the Navy on the ship, and the commander comes in bragging about how we're going to finally be able to start bombing people.
Hmm.
Like, what's wrong with that? Like, I didn't get it. Like, why? Like, you're giving us a pep talk? Yeah, I said a
Mhm.
pep talk. Like, it just we don't care. Like, we it's like I think that we abuse our children. First of all, I think, and we abuse empathy out of a lot of our children. So they grow up in households that don't seem to care about. If people don't know, look up peaceful parenting. Like, I think like that's an important message to take too. Like it's going to start with their children if it's going to start anywhere, because we're fucked up. So people have to decide, like, the beginning, like, we're going to end this idea of violence. We're going to teach our kids how to handle their emotions, how to, like, understand that it's not they it's their emotions. Like, own their emotions, understand it's okay to be sad, it's okay to feel anxiety. Teach them how to cope. Like, we don't teach coping mechanisms. Who spends time teaching the kids how to cope with sadness, how to cope with stress, how to cope with anger? Do we teach kids that? Do we spend the time teaching them those moral lessons? Like, some like religion, though there might be some areas where we do better than others, but we don't do that in general. If anything, we go beat the kid because they're crying instead of teaching them how to cope. And then it's us too. Like, we don't cope with the kid crying. Like, usually there's a reason for a kid to cry. Has anybody ever walked into a store and see somebody smack their baby for crying? The baby doesn't know. So you're just shocking them to shut up. Like, if I hear a baby crying, I think? I think the baby needs attention. The baby needs love and care. It needs something. It's asking. It's the voice, that innocent voice, calling out to the world to say, I just want, I just need something right now that's very important to me. Whether it's somebody to hold them, whether it's somebody to change their diaper, whether it's food, whether it is sick, or whether they just want to be grouchy and just tell the world, I'm grouchy right now. Like, they're just kids. But people will smack their babies. Like, smack babies. Like, I've seen people punish children for spilling milk on the floor. And I know sounds like it's off topic, but it's not. This is where it stems from. Like, we're not going to change things until we learn to change the way we deal with other humans, and until we learn how to raise our kids, until we learn how to have empathy for people in the Middle East, and until those people in the Middle East learn how to have empathy for us. And there's no reason like Islam can't do that. There's no reason like Christianity can't do that. Hinduism can't do that. That we can like learn empathy. I had a debate with DB Dave, and he tried to say that you need to ground everybody into like one thing to be able to have empathy for each other. But yeah, this is true. Hugh Hammond, you have a 3-year-old, and it's sometimes hard to keep it together. Don't I know? It sucks sometimes. Um, and if somebody's feeling other stress because of money or because they don't know how to cope with their other stressors, and then they have this one stressor from the 3-year-old, and they know I could just lock the kid up in the other room, or I could just smack them, and I'm going to remove that stress. Like, I have all these other stressors, I could just remove this one. So easy, just a 3-year-old, not and so they respond that way. Like, because they don't know, they don't have the coping mechanisms they need to deal with these type of things. So they'll lash out against other people, against the easy stuff, the easy targets they have in life. I'm probably talking total bullshit right now, but folks with this is another good point. Discipline doesn't mean hitting. Discipline means teaching a regimen. It means teaching children to be disciplined. In other words, how to cope, how to live a healthy life, not how to control them to conform them to your specific ideals. But I do have to go. I only planned on doing this for like 15 minutes just to share this news, and then I just got me thinking. But yeah, and you should hug people you love, because those people could go off fighting a war in Iran. Hopefully nothing happens from it. I'm not going to bet on it, though. Oh, we have Jamie Shapiro. Sorry, I didn't even notice you. Hey, bud.
Hey guys. No, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate everything you guys have been saying, and it's just totally on point. And everything that you guys, I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah.
Everything you guys have been saying about, the way that we have to pass down teaching our children and everything. I mean, I could probably be Ozzy, and I could probably be your son, the age difference here. But I noticed everything you were saying about the way that we approach discipline and things is, I've been working with animals for almost 7 years, and you can really see it in the innocence that they have. They can't think in the same way for themselves, and I see the same thing, like you were saying. Oh, I've seen someone hit their child in the supermarket for spilling milk or something like that. You see that in the same, my line of work, where somebody will hit their dog just for acting out, and then the dog doesn't know what's going on, and then you can really see very objectively that it's not solving the issue. And this translates to a greater scheme of, if that person has that mindset, then they were probably taught that mindset. And then the people that are in control of these types of situations globally clearly have passed down that mindset for, years and in generations. And it's just, this also feeds into the problem. And I just think it's horrible. Like, I'm a very big advocate for, turn the other cheek, have peace, and
Yeah.
just
You teach kids how to negotiate, and they don't learn it but they can start learning it at like 3 years old. Like they learn.
absolutely, yeah.
I watched this video, and people like, oh, it's sort of abusive. I just want to share it. To me, it's like they're trying to teach a lesson to the kids. I got to share this. It's heartwarming. I think very, very heartwarming. And you just, it looks like triplets. Oh, this one's mean. I'm not going to show that one. Like they smack eggs on the kid's head, and then she's like, "That's mean. Do you want me to do that to you? That's mean." Oh, that was sad. Oh, this is it. Hold on. Shit. There. There we go. All right. So you see the kids there. Let me zoom in a picture. Oh, I can't. Of course I can't. I pop this out. Does that pop it out? All right. I'm just. Oh, does that work? There we go. Like, what? Like, what's like? I don't know if I would have done that to my kids, but but what does that teach you? Like, what do they know? Like, it's just human nature. Like, she knew it was unfair. It was not. There was something unfair about what was going on, and so she's like, "Wait, they don't have." That's why they're upset. And then the one girl, you see like the one girl that was that was crying right before when he was putting out the plate, she was bouncing up and down, all excited. And then she opens the plate up and she's like, and she just in case, it's really cool. Look at her bouncing there, so excited, and they're just so crushed, so disappointed.
I think there's another thing too to be said for like even the expectation here, where she's bouncing up and down, excited, and so focused on what she expects is coming, not and doesn't look at what has already been presented. She just knows that routine, what's going on, and so excited. And I think that's also a big metaphor for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. But then the middle sister, they look like triplets. I'm not sure if they are, but they look like triplets. I mean, she's like, oh wait, that's why they're upset. And I have 3, and then she might not even be able to count to 3. And she's like, 1, 1, and she's like, it's there. You're okay. Like, it's good now. We're all happy now. It's like, it's just heart to that stuff to me. It's like heartwarming. It just shows you that so what happens to us? What happens to us? That we say it's not like we shouldn't share. Like when we have extra, we shouldn't share.
I think a lot of this stuff that we see later, like in this sort of conflict and things, also I think it's really good to bring up that it originates from maybe childhood, where like I saw another video today on social media where there was a father and his daughter really, really wanted to eat this pepper that she picked up from the store. She wanted it so bad, and it was a red chili. And he was like, it's really spicy. It's going to be hot. And I know it is. It's really hot. Are you sure you want to try it? And he gives her 3, 4 opportunities. And he's like, all right, but if you want to try it, it's going to be really spicy. And she takes a bite. And she's like, no, I think it's good. Then she takes another bite and then realizes. And he's like, all right, well, did you make a mistake? And she's like, yeah, I realized I made the mistake. And I think there's sort of that instinct too, like the curiosity, which is just amongst the sense of innocence that we all have when we're a lot younger. And I think that's a very good indicator of how those things can grow if they're not cultivated correctly. Like we have to teach everybody to appreciate their instincts. Like it's good to be curious, but you have to keep it in check. And it's good to want things. Like for that girl in the middle, you can tell she's so excited she has 3, but it's also very important to have that empathy and be able to share it. And if you don't cultivate it in all of us when we're young, then it leads people down different paths that might not be the best.
And this is a palate cleanser. This is so cute. This is wonderful. Like, watch it. It says Devin loves number. It says she's like 2 years old or 3 years old or something like that. Let me see what it says. It's like 2 years old. It says she's 2 years old. We'll just pretend she's 2 years old. I don't know. Maybe she looks like she's 2. Watch this. That's an 8. The dot's missing. You're 25.
Good job! Yay!
That is so cute.
It's awesome.
I don't even care if she memorized it or she actually knows how to do the math. At 2 years old to do that, who cares, dude?
Even if it's memorization, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. Thank you, 666, for the hugs. I don't like the hug though. I don't like when people touch me. Unless there's like intimacy. I like that. But normal stuff, no. Yeah, it just I don't know. But with that, I gotta go. I have something I was supposed to be at, and I was gonna do something else before then. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching me be a train wreck. But,
No, that I mean, I've seen a lot of these after shows, and always I've commented a few times, wanted to pop on, and I just when I saw this going down, I was like, oh my god, this just cemented the point that I know this guy making this platform is an amazing person. And then Issa, big props to you for the way that you were being here for Ozian, and I feel like I genuinely, after watching for months now, I feel like I have a connection to some of you guys, even though we've never talked. And just all the love, all the props. Dr. J, I love your opinions on everything I've seen you comment on as well. It's amazing, like seeing, even though I won't get into everything, but even though there's a lot of different things going on and all these dynamics, it's amazing to finally get here, just have a moment, just appreciate you guys. I just want to say all that, and just this is a very real platform, and I appreciate what all of you are contributing to it, and Ozzy and you for doing this, especially. I don't think I've seen a more genuine response to something that's happened from anybody that I follow on any platform. It was great to see, and that was really one of the big points I just wanted to make. This is awesome and wholesome, and I think anyone watching as well would agree that this is important, and you're doing something important, and it's never hateful, and it's always amazing, and just well done, everybody. Like round of applause all the way around, because
I want to bring people together.
yeah, you're doing a very
So
good
we're
job.
not fighting.
That's important, and that's relevant, and I appreciate those core values, and I find it especially on this platform, and I think it's amazing.
Thank
Even
you.
when it's something as trivial as the flat Earth debates or something,
Yeah.
and you bring both panelists on and share everything, it's amazing. And I've even seen like Dr. J, you'll have conversations with people who have the complete opposite point of view of you, and do a very good job of just equalizing, and not no one's offending anybody, and just understanding, and very rational, and I appreciate that. This is very neutral, and I can tell that's the goal, and you're doing a good job of it.
Well, they're the expert chaplains and stuff over there too. They're so like counselors. So you have to be able to connect with people, and I'd let that in like it's so weird. Like when I talk to flat earthers, like how I can connect with them. It's so like they're yelling at each other, then I just start talking to them, and it's like
Yeah.
totally different. Just change.
When Ross was on the after show,
Yeah.
I made a comment too. I was like, "Oh my god!" Every time he talks to you, Ozzy, and he flattened out,
Yeah.
pun intended. And
Yeah.
you had a very good conversation. You were able to bring someone back down to earth, and that just said a lot about your character and the way that I've even seen you develop in your own conversations and debates with all these people, and it just makes this a more welcoming place.
Certain things I don't tolerate, but I'm gonna go.
Absolutely.
I gotta go. I'm already late. So okay,
Yep.
thank you
See you
guys
guys.
for coming.
Yep.
See you guys.
Great having
Nice
you.
to
I'm
meet
just
all
gonna
of
end
you.
it.
Peace.
Whoops! I forgot the end of the stream. Bye.